I'd like to bring the Tuesday, February 21st, 2023 committee meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Dr. Witherspoon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, by faxing notice of this meeting to the Press of Atlantic City and Star Ledger on January 6, 2023, and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City and Star Ledger on January 9, 2023, and January 10, 2023, respectively. Mr. Cheek?
Here.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Schenker?
Here.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Here.
Mayor Patali?
Here. Have a moment of silence for private reflection, please. Okay. We're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to do a proclamation first for the retirement of John Groan. John, you want to come on up? You even lowered it for me. Good. All right, how are you? Good. Whereas John Groan has been a lifelong resident of the Township of Hamilton and has honorably and faithfully served the Township for the past 43 years, and whereas when he began his employment with the Township of Hamilton Public Works Department in April 1979, first hired as a full-time laborer and then a year later promoted to truck driver, whereas in 1988, year after I graduated high school, John was promoted to equipment operator. For the past 43 years, John has been a hard-working and valuable employee to the township. Whereas, after all his success and hard work, John Groan has decided to leave the township to enjoy a well-earned retirement that will be marked by more time spent with family and friends. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, on this day, February 21st, 2023, recognize John Groan in honor of his devotion to the residents of the Township of Hamilton. We take this opportunity to express our heartfelt appreciation for a job very well done, and we hereby offer to John our congratulations on his upcoming retirement and our best wishes to him for continued success, happiness, good health in the years to come. Congratulations. Guest presentations. They here yet?
No, not yet.
All right, we're waiting on someone who's coming from New York City, so when they get here, we'll pause and move on to them. Somebody coming in, is this them?
No.
Addition, deletion of late agenda items. We have late list, guest presentation, local endorsement for cannabis licensing, the Burn Factory, and executive session, discuss township administrator applicants. I have a motion.
So moved. Second.
All those for?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mayor,
early public comment?
She's here for the Burn Factory presentation.
Oh, there we go. You ready?
You can.
Does the keyboard work? I can manage your slides. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Stephanie Schumann. I'm with the cannabis law firm Leaf Legal PC, and I represent Burn Factory. The company consists of brother-sister team Ed and Maureen Sheen and Hamilton Township local Justin Anacone. They've been lovely to work with, and we've already secured a conditional cannabis cultivation license from the state of New Jersey. We are here tonight seeking local endorsement as the very last step in obtaining permission to operate. The company plans to site its facility at 7317 Black Horse Pike in Mays Landing. The proposed site shares its address with Jean's Farm and Garden Center, which is a family-owned and operated business that's been operating in Mays Landing for almost 50 years. The parents of Burn Factory's COO and head cultivator, Justin Anacone, are local community members Jean and Jeannie Anacone, who own the 18-acre property and fully support the local endorsement of the company. The company intends to build a 10,000 square foot modern grow house with the latest cannabis technology. Sorry, yeah, the spelling. Okay. Yes, it'd be cited here. Maybe the pictures are easier to see. The facility will have the latest cannabis-specific technology and high-end quality air management via HVAC, HEPA, and HEGA technologies, and negative air pressure will also be utilized to prevent odor from escaping the facility. And that's what it'll look like on the outside. And the company is very eager to hire locally whenever possible. Here's kind of a map out of the inside of the facility. And I would like to take questions if anybody has any.
Anybody from the committee have questions?
How many employees are we talking about?
Oh, hi. Justin, hey. So I was thinking starting with, he would know better than me because he's the CEO of the company. So.
Well, could you state your name and title for the record?
Justin Anacone, and I'll be the chief operator of this project and business. Depending on approval and what we success we have initially, ideally we would have up to 5 employees. It depends on how successful we are initially. Right. Right, we're going to start small, and then we're, right now I work with my mom, Jean, small family-owned business, but this would be a lot of my focus, and then once we can get up and running, have the need for it.
You plan on expanding past the 10,000 square foot? Is that your initial building?
That would be the initial phase. It would be 10,000 square feet, and as we can prove ourselves, get more financing to expand, that would ultimately be legal. And we have 18 acres there. The bulk of it, or 10 of it, is for the current business, and then if all goes well, we could expand into another building or two.
Looks like there's several buildings.
There's no retail, just growing?
Yeah, this license is purely for cultivation.
Okay, what certification do you have for growing the,
A
Cultivation.
license from the state of New Jersey, yeah.
from the state of New Jersey? How is this going to be irrigated, from the top down, or how are you going to irrigate?
It'll be, we have a couple wells on site already. We would just use drip line irrigation, so it won't be like, huge spraying. It's just drip line as needed, and, yeah, recycle it. The goal would be to not allow, we're not growing outdoors, so it'll have to be from our own well source.
Very good. There is a great bit of sulfur in the wells. Is this something that you're going to deal with, or?
Yeah, and we have a couple greenhouses on site at Jean's, so we have to treat the water here and there if there's too much iron.
Iron.
Familiar with the local water and how to deal with it in terms of growing crops.
What is your experience in this, in
Um,
growing these crops?
Well, I grew up in this family business, and like I said, we have a couple greenhouses. I'm growing vegetable plants, flowers, everything. So I have experience in that. Obviously, I can't say I've been growing cannabis for years.
So,
Not doing that. But I think that experience translates very well.
so you're part of the family, Jean's family?
Yes, my dad, Gene, right in the back there, and my mom, Gene.
Okay.
No,
Partnering, my partners in the company have experience in other states, so we'll be leaning on and their experience actually growing cannabis where it is currently legal.
Who will be your are you planning to sell it locally, or how will you distribute this once you've grown it?
Yeah, we would be selling to licensed processors and retailers in New Jersey. 'Cause you
Okay.
can't sell it across.
Nope.
So this property will remain in your family. You're basically leasing it to this company.
Right, yeah, we're leasing 2 acres to start, securing fencing, everything.
Rich, did you have a question? You sort of did.
no, he answered it right after. I
There you
started
go.
asking.
Any other questions from committee? So this is resolution of the Township of Hamilton supporting the application of Burn Factory Incorporated to the State of New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class 1 cultivation cannabis license within the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey. And so basically all we are doing is approving this. This isn't, so everybody understands, this isn't an MOU, this isn't a redevelopment plan. This is simply us stating that we support you in doing this. Just want to make sure everybody understands.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second.
Can I ask a question? And forgive me for there was certain districts we allowed this type of thing to go. Is this inside of one of
Yes,
the
this is inside, this is the proper district, correct? Mr. Malley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
What is the district? Is it highway commercial or agriculture? Is it under agriculture? The,
Brett, do you know? I don't know off the top of my head.
If this is an agricultural use or a highway commercial use?
Yeah, what is that zoned as
Didn't you
out
t-
there?
Didn't you indicate it was an agricultural use?
We did, but I thought it was both because of redevelop. It's also highway commercial.
Right. And they will have to go through the redevelopment process.
Yeah, because all cannabis has to go through redevelopment.
Yes, it's a separate,
Yes.
that we have to get from, yeah. from those.
Correct. Any other questions or comments?
just, where did you get the name Burn Factory?
I'm not in charge of marketing for.
Very good.
Yeah, no signage. Any other questions or comments? Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Early public comment. Do we have anybody signed in?
We have Aileen Dix for 3A and 3B.
Okay. Good
Hi.
evening.
3A, appointing a redevelopment/rehabilitation subcommittee. A lot of the anxiety that has happened over the last year or two has been caused by projects being discussed without ever starting here, like this idea just came here. This is where things need to start, not a two-person subcommittee. And I'm saying I object to a subcommittee. If you're going to say you want to bring everybody here first to make a presentation like this, and then, and what I'm saying right now has nothing to do with that proposal. It's just, this is a presentation. I think every deal, every possible project should start here, so anybody that has an interest can come and have an opportunity. Then if you want to send it to a subcommittee, then maybe that's a different ballgame, but I just basically object to subcommittees.
Well, this subcommittee is really being put together to look at the ordinance and take the information that we got last Wednesday from the audience, from the residents.
All right.
And make some changes to the ordinance.
Thank you for saying that, because what I was going to say next, I'm going to put it here and we can forget B. The flaw that I have found, because we always find things by direct experience, the flaw is in this rehabilitation situation, and this is really right toward Mr. Malley, because he's going to be able to tell us whether I'm off base or not off base. The rehabilitation ordinance says if you make an improvement to your home and your home is over 20 years old, you can apply for a 5-year tax abatement up to $25,000 on the improvement you did. So if you put an addition on, is the example that kept getting used. New houses are exempt, can't apply. And not meaning to bring anything funny about it, but a new house isn't necessarily a new house. A new house can be a replacement house. When you have an act of God, you have hurricanes, we did have a little earthquake a few years ago with the chairs shaking in my house. Or when, God forbid, we've had a couple in the last couple years, houses burn to the ground. When they burn to the ground and you clean it up and you build yourself a replacement house, you've lost your senior freeze, you've lost senior freeze, and there's another one that is also lost. So there's no abatement, there's no senior freeze, and this other one is another tax exemption that I'm not thinking of right this second. I would appreciate it if the issue I'm raising, because I can name names that I don't want to, of people who are victims of this. So if it's possible under this law that we can do something, that we can make a definition that a replacement home is not a new home, it's a replacement, that would help, especially when they are lifelong residents. He started to get,
I think that is.
it may be, Carl, it may be a quick answer if he says, no, you
Yeah.
can't do what I just said.
No, we can look at it. There are, state law has very tight requirements in these areas, like the $25,000 limit was put in place in the mid-'70s, and it's never been changed. So it's really unrealistically
Correct.
low. But the state law parameters are pretty tight. We'll look at how we can amend the replacement, go over with the governing body, but we can certainly look at that.
Or create a different ordinance to,
Again, it
the
has
affordable
tight-
housing one is the other one that I worked on for 3 years, till we got something carved out there. So I'm looking for a carve out to help the next family that burns to the ground.
Yeah, we can review it and go over it. I just tell you, all the restrictions where you see
Understood.
limits, it's most of the time because that's the limit that state law has set on what we can do.
But we need to make a new definition.
I hear you. Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Brett?
That's it.
That's it? On to discussions. 3A, discussion appointing a redevelopment rehabilitation subcommittee. This, I don't know, Brett, do you want to start off on that, or would you like Art and I to talk about it? Basically, I'll start off. So, kind of what I said to Eileen, Ms. Dix. After Wednesday's meeting, some ideas were brought up, questions were raised. So the discussion was, we need to put some people together to take a look at this and move forward with whatever changes to these ordinances we want to make, and go from there. The idea is, so we would have the administrator, community development director, and the chairman of the planning board, and 2 members of committee. And I would like that to be, if they agree to it, would be Art and Judy. If you guys are okay with that? Art, you good?
Yeah.
You want to volunteer for that? Awesome.
One
Judy,
meeting
you
a month.
volunteer for that?
If
Yeah,
I could,
so
I just
one-
want to say, I appreciate, even though I wasn't here in body, I was here in mind. I appreciate everybody that came out, and a lot of good stuff comes out of it. We got some things that we think we can work on, things that we can change. Most importantly, and this is directed to Aileen, the whole purpose of this process is to absolutely bring this before the public. All these projects that come before the public, because this is where it should start, because this is where it's going to end. One way or the other, whether we're for it or against it, it ends here with committee and in front of the public. So that, I want to say to you, will go without saying. That is definitely one of our most important things that we want to do. But there was a lot of other things that was brought to our attention, including what you said tonight. But again, I understand, Mr. Malley, and I've been dealing with this. There are limitations with the law, and that's where we run into where everyone, okay, we should do this, we should do that. Yeah, well, unfortunately, the law, and it's an old law, that's part of the problem. It needs to be revamped other than here. So, I think it's a good opportunity for us before moving forward with projects. And I appreciate that, yes. So I think that this is a good opportunity for us to tweak it, if you would, and kind of make it more of a open process so that everybody feels a little more comfortable with it.
Thank
So
you.
yes, Carl, I would, yes, I'll do it.
You're up to 4 meetings a month now.
Yeah, it's all right.
Any other comment or questions about this? Moving on. Discussion amending ordinance 1903-2019, the 5-year tax exemption and abatement law. Brett, you want to talk about this, please?
We wanted to have a discussion to possibly revisit this ordinance and enable our tax abatement officer / assessor to administratively approve pilots up to $500,000. Right now, he can approve tax abatements up to $500,000, but not pilots.
Okay.
So we're looking to further streamline this process and add the pilots into the ordinance.
Comment? Question?
I think it's a good idea to allow the tax assessor to handle these. These are smaller pilots, smaller abatements that would, normally we'd have them all come here, and it really doesn't necessarily need to come here. Obviously, the bigger ones would be in front of us, in front of the public. So I think this just kind of cleans up a little bit of the unnecessary paperwork, so to speak.
Yeah.
And most of our neighboring
confused
towns
as-
do this. Egg Harbor
Yes.
City,
Mhm.
Egg Harbor Township, Galloway.
So we would need this ordinance amended.
Yes, we would have to prepare amendment to this ordinance.
Okay.
For introduction at the next meeting.
Correct.
So we don't need a motion now.
No.
We're
No,
just-
we
You're going to
just
bring
have
it
this-
forward
we just
next
have-
meeting,
have
okay?
discussion so we can start the process.
Very good, thank
Can
you.
you define the abatement and exemption officer? Who is that for us?
That's Bill Johnson.
Bill Johnson? Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Moving on. 3C, resolution of the Township of Hamilton, Atlantic County, State of New Jersey, appointing conditional redeveloper and authorizing execution of memorandum of understanding between Royal Highness Dispensary LLC and the Township of Hamilton for Block 43, Lot 3. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions?
Yes, has this gone to a workshop?
Ms. Link. They have come to a workshop and presented their plan. This is just the start of the process to move forward. I believe they already had their letter from the town for support.
Yes.
That's what you just saw from the burn factory,
Yes.
if I said that right. I don't know if I did. Okay. So this is the next step in the process. And then they'll be back in front of doing a redevelopment plan. Or an agreement, I'm sorry, redevelopment agreement.
So this is tied into the burn factory?
No, it is not.
It's turned into,
This is two different sites. I was just saying, they had already done what the burn factory had done before, had requested.
They already have our
Support. You already have, you
yeah,
already
but
gave
they
their
didn't
support.
make a presentation, did they?
I don't remember if they made a presentation when you came for that, no.
I don't believe they did.
So this is us entering into an MOU with Royal Highness. Not a redevelopment agreement yet, it's an MOU.
So will they be coming before us to do a presentation?
They can.
Right now.
Hi, my name's Adam Siegel. I'm the Director of Operations for Royal Highness. If you would like us to do that, I have no problem in making a presentation. In our application, I mean, there's plenty of documents that detail like our SOPs and different things that were asked by the township, but we can make that a public presentation too. I have no problem putting something together. And
I would appreciate, I don't know if you're following what's going on here, but we're in the midst of kind of tweaking this redevelopment, and just so everybody understands that Royal Highness is an existing building that they're taking over and they're going to refurbish. It's not a new building or anything like that, but anything that has to do with marijuana has to go through a redevelopment. So this, if it wasn't for the fact that you were selling marijuana, we wouldn't be going through this process, so to speak. So, but I would appreciate if that's the way we could do it, because this is what I feel personally. I don't know how everybody else feels, that we need to show everybody what's going on. And I know you guys have nothing to hide, so I don't think it would be a problem.
yeah, I'd be more than happy to put together something for you next meeting. And,
So, I mean, I don't want to hold, I also don't want to stand in the way of business either, so.
No, I just want to be clear. I asked Burn Factory to come in and present to you guys because of the meeting we had last week, the
Okay.
special meeting. We talked about adding another layer to that where we're going to,
right.
where the
And it's a
applicant would
process,
come
right.
before. And that's why I called them and asked them to come in tonight and do a presentation.
Okay.
They're at the
Royal
next,
Highness-
this is at the second step.
They've already gotten past that
Right,
point?
but-
Okay.
but again,
Yeah, I'd
if-
still
if
like a presentation.
So,
Township is comfortable, I will be more than happy to volunteer.
okay,
with that.
so I guess what we should do is allow the MOU. Again, it's not, we're not giving away the farm here. We're just saying, okay, we're okay with it. And then if you would come in next meeting and give us a presentation to, in front of the public so that we can,
Well, we can decide on the MOU at that time. Why do we have to jump a step that we've insisted be?
The MOU, correct me if I'm wrong, is just for us to start negotiating the redevelopment agreement. So
Correct.
it's not something that guarantees us anything. It just tells us that we are committing to the township.
Yeah, but this is what we went through with Trophy Park, so I think you should do a presentation. And then we'll consider the MOU.
Will this
And the
slow you down in any way?
The other
That's
thing
what the
is,
township council wants, though. I mean, we're more than happy to work.
without the MOU, they don't, you guys have you posted an escrow yet? So without the MOU, they don't have to post yet. This gets them to post the escrow, and then, the professionals get paid through the escrows. So,
It's in the best interest of the township for us to do that.
yes.
Well, not really, because we want to be open and honest. We want a presentation, just like we had tonight with the Burn Factory. Why not? Anything that comes before that is requiring a MOU, and we've made it very specific because we were in the midst of Trophy Park having an MOU, and it created all sorts of anxiety. So if it, I mean, 2 weeks is not going to mean a life and death. Am I correct?
It makes a large difference. It does. We were trying to, it's fine. If that's what you need, I understand, and we'll acquiesce.
But does that slow you down?
It absolutely says
Well,
Right, so you're not able to,
we can't start development.
you can't do anything without the MOU.
Contractors, we can't submit anything to the state for approval until we get the MOU in place that says that we're allowed to start developing, or at least negotiating to develop.
Right.
can you do a presentation right now?
I don't have a PowerPoint, but we can,
Well, you could-
I'd be happy to answer questions. I can explain where we are and what we're doing,
In our packets, we have,
Oh,
We
sorry,
can't
yeah.
hear anything.
Sorry, I'm not used to speaking to microphone. I'm usually loud enough for everybody to hear me.
Do an MOU now, and we don't like what's going on, we could just let it expire, couldn't we?
It's 180 days.
Yeah, I
no,
know.
you can,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, we can back out of an MOU at any time.
Yeah, let me just suggest this as a process, okay? The MOU, the only thing the MOU does is have the project post an escrow to cover professionals. You can end that anytime you want. And so if you did that, we could then work could begin on trying to get an agreement together for them, because they need that to get to their next step of land use approvals. If you're on board with that, they can come back in 2 weeks, make their presentation. If you're no-go on the project, then it stops. We simply cancel you out. So there's no risk. You're in for two weeks, doesn't do anything else for you. Let some work begin to get the process moving along. I just suggest that as a way to kind of get in the middle for the project that's in process as we're changing the process a little bit.
Okay, so what are you going to develop under the MOU, under the agreement, that he does this, and that?
So it'll be a redevelopment agreement. We'll start up with getting the specifics of the project, having some discussion with your administrator, with some of you about what else there is that's particular to this site that the township would like to see done for this retail location. So if there's certain special traffic things we need to see, other than site plan, we're not going to cover site plan issues, but any other special issues, conditions that you need will be built into a redevelopment agreement to give you a little bit more control over what the project is. That agreement was set up for cannabis, kind of as an extra safety valve for this new business, for the township to have an ability to have a little bit greater degree of control over what happens there.
If we approve this MOU tonight, where does it go from there?
On March 7th, if you see a presentation, you don't like it, you can end it. That's the day after your next meeting, I think, right? March 2nd.
Yes.
Yeah. So we would simply start discussions on an agreement and start drafting up an agreement on their nickel, okay? If we don't, we won't do anything on it. We've got the CFO sitting behind me saying, make sure we're not doing any work on it until they post that escrow, okay?
So if we do an MOU, they would post an escrow for you
Correct.
to begin working on the agreement that
Yes.
was in our amendments for cannabis.
Yes, correct, okay? They would post it, cover the cost.
And moving forward, what we'll do, we will, before we give cannabis entities, whatever class it is, before we approve them for the state, that we're okay with it, that's when they will give a presentation.
Right, so your first step, which you've started tonight, is before you give that endorsement,
Right.
okay? Before you give an endorsement, which just says to the state, look, we're okay with the location, we're okay that it's zoned for this. It doesn't go any further than that, it just says, so we support that application to go in. That, now you'll have a presentation before you get to that, and then you can decide if, after they get a conditional, which you guys have, you don't,
We have an annual license.
You have an
This is our change of location. We were in
There-
another township, yeah.
you're transferring over to this location.
You have other
They're set.
locations, you said?
No, we were previously going to be, and we were approved in another location, but we were
So you're mo-
leasing that
Oh,
facility,
okay.
and
Yeah, I
it's no
remember
longer
that.
available.
Okay,
So
I'm
we're
So they're-
purchasing the
So
Platinum
they're
Playground.
further along on this process.
Mm-hmm.
They're like ready to go.
So I don't want to, I understand, totally understand where you're coming from, Judy, trust me, I do. But he's midway, he's already passed that one step. I don't want to hurt him going forward from there.
Regardless of the decision of the council tonight, I'm more than happy to come next time and give a presentation, just so we're open with everybody on what our plans are. I mean, mostly everything is going to be an internal rebuild. There's nothing really external except for signage that's going to change, maybe some coats of paint and, painting the lines and making sure that everything's within the ordinances that have been identified. We want to make sure that we follow all the rules and that we're open and clear about everything. We're not trying to hide anything.
Okay, so the idea to go on, he had already made application elsewhere, and now you decide to go to an existing building, and all the modifications to that existing building would come under planning, site planning.
Yes,
Yes.
So,
okay?
if you would, please come back and do a presentation, and we can move forward on this MOU tonight to get you going.
All right, there we go. Put it,
I'd like to make a motion that we move this MOU. I think that if everybody realizes where they're going to be located, it's a gentleman's club on the outskirts of town. Improving that, I don't think hurts our town in any way. It's almost in Folsom, it's so far out of town. So everybody has a different opinion on marijuana and whether it's sold, distributed. It's a state law now, so it's a business that will bring revenue to the town. I welcome it.
Second.
we have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes,
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations, and we'll see you
Thank you.
at the next meeting for a presentation. Jane, you can put that on the agenda already?
It better be good.
3D, honorary street name dedication application for John Groan. Brett, you want to,
Similar to what we-
it's kind of self-explanatory.
Similar to what we did for Mrs. Anderson when she retired, we made 13th Street from Route 50 to Calhoun an honorary street. We named the road after Joan. It's just a small sign would be placed underneath the existing green sign. It would be a small blue sign. And we proposed from 559 to Cantillon in front of the Public Works facility to rename that John Groen Way.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
it's well-deserving.
Yes. Well, I'll push
Putting up
forward
with
to do so.
Brett for all these years.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
3E, discussion declaration of emergency due to fuel contamination at the Public Works facility. Brett? Bob? Who wants to,
It's going to be, Bob's not really up to speed on what's going on. So about 3 weeks ago, we had an investigation done at Public Works, and they found some fuel, contamination in the soils around our underground gasoline tank. The tank itself isn't leaking, it's where they fill the tank. It leaked over the course of the last 30 years. So we have to declare an emergency because the fuel island has been shut down, forcing police, EMS, and fire to go to Northfield and Hamilton, and it's and adding an hour to their shift, and it's about an hour round trip, so it takes them out of service for a night. So it's impacting our response times.
Now, you're saying that the tank is not leaking, but when they fill it, it's leaking?
The riser that comes, so the tank's roughly 6 feet below the ground. The riser, it's just a piece of pipe that goes up where they fill the tank. That has pinholes in it, and they think that leaked over the years and contaminated the soils around the tanks. So we don't know what kind of a cleanup we're going to have right now. We don't know if it's going to be localized or if we're going to have to, expand out near the road or near the buildings over at the site. So we had to declare an emergency in order to give Cindy the ability to appropriate funds.
How do they know the tank isn't leaking?
They tested the tank. It's a fiberglass
Tested
tank.
the tank.
It's not a steel tank. It's a double-lined fiberglass tank. So they know
Is
that
it-
that's not leaking. I'm not saying that we're not going to have to replace it, because we may have to remove the tank to clean up. So we're not sure what the scope of this is going to be yet.
and the tank is near the end of its life.
Yes.
So then the remediation of the soil, will they remove that soil and put new?
Yes, they'll remove the soil, and they'll have to be taken to a treatment facility, and they'll have to bring in fresh, clean, tested soil.
And so how long will that process take?
We don't know yet. We don't know how much soil they're gonna have to remove.
So you're in the midst.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So this is the tank for the little gas station we got there, right? And who all uses that gas station?
The county,
So
the
they're
county
gonna,
uses
they're gonna
it.
share in the cost?
They're not on the hook for the cost of this. They're only on the hook for the cost of the above ground, the pumps themselves.
Who made that deal?
Who made that deal?
That's a
I
bad
think
deal.
John Groen made it.
Get his proclamation back. That was good, Brett. I like that.
Yeah, they should share.
It's actually, it's the county, it's the bus service, it's the sheriff's department, prosecutor's office,
It's pretty much everybody.
pretty much everybody, all our police, fire, ambulance.
So if they have the same problem in Northfield, are we part of that too, or no?
No, it's only because it's on our
Hamilton, we're
property.
out.
We're clear on Northfield.
I'm
and
just
Hamilton.
checking.
I hope.
I got you.
Do they have a problem in Northfield already for contamination? Art, are you suggesting that
No,
in
I was
Northfield?
just
they
making
have-
sure we're not on the hook if they do. We always seem to be on the hook, and then everyone else goes, oh, no, not us.
That's not our problem.
I see some numbers back here in the back, Brett. We got 25,900. Is that an estimate of, as the information you have now? Of
This
course,
is
if-
to hire an LSRP, a licensed site remediation professional, to oversee the work, and this is for soil testing. We're gonna have to do test pits around the site.
So bare minimum, we got to do this, and then if they find out it's just the nozzle or the riser, they got to chop all that up, replace the riser, and put it back in service.
Right.
So that part will be obviously more.
What is the 35,000 for?
Yeah,
We,
No matter what, we have to
We're-
get the dirt out.
yeah.
we put extra money in there just in case they have to do extra test pits beyond the scope that they outlined in their estimate here. We wanted some wiggle room, that way we didn't have to come back to committee.
Right.
Oh, so it's going from 25.9 to 35.
That's just for more soil work if they need it. As
And if they
needed.
don't use it, it's just there.
Comes
It'll
back
get
to-
canceled.
The
if they-
slush fund, so to speak. Okay. So when you, once they do all this testing and we get a full grasp of what's going on here, does that work have to go out to bid? Do we have to bid that?
We're looking at a company that may be able to do it through our state, through the state contract.
Okay,
So we're
All
gonna
right.
try that route.
is what it is.
Is that with Remington and Vernick?
No, this would be, if we, once we actually get into doing the work, that's when we would look to the state contract for a contractor to do the work. We do have a tank policy, so a lot of the cost of this is gonna be covered under the tank policy.
Good,
But
good.
we have to put the money out first before we
Right,
get the
it's
money
a,
back.
it's a quicker process.
Right.
So you're saying the tank is not, it is not leaking. So if they prove that it's not leaking, will they have the responsibility of paying for some of this?
We'll have a decision to make, depending on how far this contamination went, if we want to replace the tank at the same time that we're digging all the soil up around the site. It might not be a bad idea to pull the tank out and put it above ground at that time. That's what we're looking at right now, and we're pricing it both ways.
So once this is all done, you're going to come back and report to us again?
Absolutely.
Next steps. Okay. So do we need, I see, we got 3 different resolutions we have to pass here? Okay. So we have to move the resolution to declare a state of emergency, or, and I want to make that motion?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is this a roll call vote, or, let's do roll call
We're
vote.
spending money,
Because
so
you're
yes.
Cheek?
spending money.
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
All yes.
Resolution authorizing preliminary costs for environmental services, fuel contamination at Public Works Facility.
A motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes.
All yes.
A resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal for environmental services, fuel contamination at the Public Works Facility.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon.
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes.
All yes.
I'm sort of curious, is this a regular inspection that it was discovered, or how was it discovered that there was contamination?
This was done through an annual inspection. They found this, but we inspect, the Public Works Department inspects it every day. We
Okay.
check for water, we check for fuel leaks, but it's an everyday thing that we have to do for the DEP. The other thing I want to mention is that we're looking into a shared service agreement with Galloway and the state to see if we can use their fueling sites until this is fixed.
To go forward so you
Yeah.
don't have to go an hour?
Galloway has a fueling site on Route 30, right near the Super Wawa at Tilton Road.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at that, and then maybe Apple Street off of Route 50, see if they'll let us fuel up there.
Oh, from the
State.
DOT.
Yeah,
That
the
would be with the township, not the county or...
No, we're just looking for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
keep you posted on that.
All right.
Very good.
Good. Just thinking outside the box and trying to save our people money and hours.
Yes.
Very good.
3F, resolution to rescind appointment of J.P. Capizzi, bond counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Let's do a roll call vote on this.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes. For A,
Mr. Mayor, do we need to, unless I'm missing something here, do we need to put someone else? Oh,
that's further down.
okay, thank you.
Further down.
All right.
Public hearing.
Public hearing, Clayton Self-Storage at Mays Landing, the 5-year tax agreement.
So moved.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Questions, comments?
Now, this 5-year exemption, does that follow, the idea that 20%, 40%, is there or
Yes.
is it a total?
Yes, it's 20.
0,
20,
20, 40, 60.
Okay, so a
Then 100.
okay. It isn't totally exempt until 5 years, but it's exempt
Yes.
periodically. Okay,
It's
It's not
steps.
exempt for 5 years,
It's-
it's
yeah.
a 20% increase every year.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
20, 40, 60, 80, okay.
And that's just as to the improvements, the
Right.
land is still assessed
Yeah,
regularly.
because I think they have a couple that they're paying full taxes on now, or
Correct.
at least one, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Hear a motion to close public?
So moved.
Have a motion, a second.
Second.
All those agree?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. So we do have a motion and a second. We have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes,
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes. 4B, public hearing, ordinance to vacate the following alleyway situate in the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, to release and relinquish the public rights therein. The 15-foot alleyway between 12th Street and 13th Street, Block 780, on the tax map of Hamilton Township, and repealing all ordinances heretofore adopted, the provisions of which are inconsistent herein.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
I have a second. Questions, comments?
Is there supposed to be a public hearing?
This is the public hearing.
Okay.
Public hearing, anybody from the public wishes to comment? Motion to close, public?
Motion to close?
So
Second.
moved.
All those agree?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Roll call vote for 4B, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes.
Need a motion to.
4C, public hearing and ordinance amending ordinance 2009-2022 of Chapter 66 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, providing for the maximum number of employees, fire administrator.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
So this is our final step with this, correct?
Yes.
So now we can move forward with the
Yes.
process. Okay, very good.
This is the public.
This is public. Anybody from the public, comment, question? Motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those for?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes. Five A, ordinance reappropriating $79,285.69, proceeds of obligations not needed to provide for various recreation improvements in and by the Township of Hamilton.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second?
Motion is second. Questions, comment?
I don't have any questions, but I think that we should say what is being reappropriated for.
It's, yeah. I don't know if you know what it will be appropriate.
I mean, I know, I just wanted it to be on record.
Yeah,
For the
so,
capital recreational improvements for the Leapy
for the
Track
Leapy Track.
and the Underhill Park.
The hockey courts resurfacing, we get back $7,127. What was the estimate for initially? No. Never mind, never
I
mind.
have no idea.
That was not.
Judy, I
That
think
was
it-
just money that was left over from when that was done, correct?
I think it was a
And
lot.
The Third
was like- it
Street
was
road improvement,
$200,000 or $300,000.
72,000 was left over.
Was left over.
How much?
And $77 from Tavistock.
Yeah. that was
And
some-
50 cents, Carl.
And
don't
50
miss
cents, I'm sorry.
So all that added up to,
79,285.69.
yay.
So this is just an introduction, so I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
that. Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes.
This is
Five.
what we need, so.
B, introduction of ordinance amending Article, I don't know, what's that?
25?
25, Stormwater Management, Chapter 203, Land Use and Development of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic. Bob?
I guess there's questions. So, Mayor, Council, this is a ordinance that Pinelands, New Jersey Pinelands Commission has distributed to all the municipalities within the Pinelands area. And they are requiring all the municipalities to update their ordinance accordingly. They've gone through and updated their ordinance and are following this criteria, and they're requesting and basically forcing the municipalities to update their ordinances.
He said
They
it, we
have
didn't.
been what's that?
I said, he said it, we didn't, but they are.
It absolutely are. And these are updated just from about a year and a half ago from the New Jersey DEP. The state had requested us to update our ordinance as well. So hopefully this is the last time for the next year and a half, maybe, before any new rules come out. They have been looked at by the New Jersey Pinelands, law office, so they're in accordance with their standards. This is very typical of what Pinelands has recommended before. We did keep some minor landscaping requirements in the ordinance to, better the buffering around the basins. They did not touch much on that, so we incorporated what we had before, so we didn't take that out. And if there's any particular questions, I can answer them.
This is a document that, controls storm management
Yep.
through the Pinelands. Very complicated, very in-depth, if anyone would like to see it, because this is one of the things that is critically important in development, that we adhere to all the stipulations by the Pinelands for redevelopment, because if one person decides they're going to do a little addition to their house and it disturbs the water flow, those people are held responsible for changing that water flow. And all of a sudden, we have a swamp in our front yard. It wasn't addressed through the Pinelands. And there's a I don't know how many retention basins we have that are not really adhering totally. We're trying to get them to adhere to it and redo it, like the Hamilton Mall and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I know at Tavistock, they had a lot of problems with this as well. They become little ponds for geese and fish to exist. So this is vitally important. I just, like, where in these, in all the words that were put in this document, are we amending?
We're amending the entire ordinance, so we're subtracting out what we had,
So throw that away.
inserting these, and then including the landscaping criteria that we had before.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Do you need a motion?
Do I have a motion?
Second?
You have one now.
I guess I,
Yeah, you just did it.
any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Absolutely.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
6A, appointment of bond counsel for 2023.
I'd like to put forth Fleischman Daniels, law offices.
Second.
Second. Get a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes. Reluctantly.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes. Consent agenda. I know I would like to remove J. And J and C.
We want to have a little discussion about F?
We can.
You can remove it for now and then discuss it.
Yeah.
Move C.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I'm saying you're moving C and J.
C, right now we're moving C, F, and J.
Okay.
Anything you want to remove?
No, I'm
You're
good.
good? Anybody want to make a motion on the others?
I'll make a motion to move the consent agenda with the exception of C, F, and J.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I have a roll call vote on that, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patali.
Yes. C, resolution denying release of performance guarantee for Artist Walk Major Subdivision Phase 1 in the amount of $430,000 $850.61 due to incomplete punch list items as recommended by 2022 Township Engineer Joe Maffei in his correspondence dated 2/9/23. I just wanted to pull this. Because we did get, it's in your packet, we got a letter from Paparone where they are asking the township to waive the requirements. Joe Maffei's not here, so I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.
Yeah, I didn't understand why we would be doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Well, if he has a checklist that isn't complete for that major subdivision, why would we pass that?
right.
If the punch list is incomplete, it's still
Punch list is
incomplete.
incomplete, it's still incomplete.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to pull that, make sure everybody was aware, saw what was going on with that. I know Joe Maffei's not here.
We both agree that that should be
Denied.
denied.
We should deny it. And
Yeah,
then, Bob, would
it's
you
a-
go out there and check the
Well, this would-
existing punch list or create a
Yeah,
new one?
I think Mr. Joe Maffei's done his inspections and he has his
Yeah.
criteria. The only thing I would recommend on top of it, not taking anything away from Mr. Maffei, is you should also, since these are HOA basins, you should have the HOA sign off before you release anything.
I couldn't agree more.
That's,
Ever.
that's a great,
You're
that's a
100%
great
right,
point, because
yeah.
we have had issues out there with
We've had
Artis
it
Walk.
before.
100%, never release anything if these are HOA-owned basins until the HOA and has their lawyer sign off on everything.
And accept-
Brett, can you
accept
reach,
it.
can you
Accept
reach
it.
out to Joe, or you reach out to the HOA yourself? I don't even know if they've got an HOA put together. Last time they were here, it was kind of a
Home administrator,
homeowners association.
Steve Philippone, Steve reported on that a couple meetings back.
Yeah.
And he said that they started the process.
Yes,
I don't
they
know
started the
where-
process.
Yeah, I don't know where.
I don't know where they're at in it.
my question is there's several resolutions accepting a 2-year maintenance guarantee. So how does that feed into the C resolution? In other words, resolution.
If you wanna pull them out, that's up to you.
I just am curious as
Yeah,
to-
we already approved them.
Yeah.
Okay.
The main one may be the
Yeah,
entire basin, the one
this-
basin in phase one, so that's.
Exactly, and Joe Maffei said not to release it.
Right.
So I have a question, since Joe's not here, I have a question for you. In that letter from Paparone, it says, there's natural growth such as pine trees have grown in and around the basin. I don't know if you know anything about this project, is that, as far as I know, basins shouldn't have trees growing in them.
No, there shouldn't be any trees inside the basin. And then there's also should be a fence around the basin to prohibit any children going down there in case there's water depth of 2 feet or greater during a storm event. So if there's a fence proposed and was approved that way, there should be installed.
Yes.
Right. It shouldn't be waived not to do it.
And then
That
Mr.
was my
Maffei
question.
stated that, and then Paparone is requesting not to do it, so now there's gonna be another letter back saying you still need to do it, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to make a motion to, for resolution denying release of performance guarantee for Artist Walk.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. F, resolution of no objection to the NJDOT issuing permit for coin drops to be held at intersection of Route 40 and 50, contingent upon final authorization by the Chief of Police. This is requested by Mid-Atlantic Regional Search and Rescue.
Um,
Do I have a motion?
Is the chief of police here?
Yeah, he's here. He's over there.
Can you give us a reason why we should accept this? It's an out-of-town Cherry Hill,
That's Egg Harbor.
It's Egg Harbor
Township.
Township.
Egg Harbor Township.
Actually, Deptford.
That
When we
Is
have
it?
people
Yes.
that are
They're-
missing,
Are they really? Okay.
we call upon them to come out with their dogs and things of that nature to try to help us find the person that's missing, whether they have Alzheimer's, any other, reason that they get missing, if it's a small child or something like that. So I think it's well worth allowing them to get.
Get the permit.
Other questions?
Ballpark, how many times a year do you call them?
I'm sorry,
Ballpark, how many times a year?
maybe one, twice a year.
It
Like it
says
to be
city.
0.
Yeah.
It says Deptford. New Jersey.
Exactly. I mean, hopefully we don't need them at all.
How are they funded as they are?
It says missing.
Do you know?
That, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, when you need them, you need them.
Yeah. As long as we use them, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, I have a motion.
Motion to pass the resolution?
Second.
Comments, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Wait, I just have
Oh,
one
I'm sorry.
question.
Go
Just
ahead.
one- So is this a precedent that we will be doing this? It's just for Egg Harbor Township, or does this open up for any person outside of Hamilton Township?
I think anybody, correct, Jane? Anybody can request this.
You can request it.
We don't have to
We don't have to approve it.
Correct.
Do
We
they
do have
charge?
other sports, nonprofits that are from out of our township that do apply for these permits. And depending on what it is, we do. As in the past.
It says Deptford.
Do they come out to help?
Booster clubs and things of that nature.
When they come out to help, do they charge?
No, they do
Okay, okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second?
Yes, we do. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek,
Yes to approve it.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Patel.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
J, approve a raffle bingo licenses for Oakcrest High School Band Parents Association to be held on April 29th, 2023, 4 to 8 p.m. at 1824 Dr. Dennis Foreman Drive. I pulled this because I'm a band dad, so I did not want to vote on this.
And how many tickets did you get?
Yeah, Hamilton.
Let me tell you something. I've fundraised for that band more, maybe, I'm not gonna say more than Keith Boakes, because he was a workhorse, but I've done my due diligence. But with that being said, please, come on, I see Denise. Luann, are you gonna be joining us to win some bags? Anybody, if you want to join us, it's a fun time. Believe it or not, there are guys that go, me being one. I play bingo and try to win bags for my future mother-in-law, future wife, whatever, kids, whatever. So, but I need to abstain from this.
Future
so.
committee
Well, I don't have to abstain, so I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Cheek,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Schenker,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon.
Yes.
And Mayor Patel.
I abstain for what I've already said.
Okay, 4 yes, 1 abstention.
Very good, thank you.
Do you have the tickets while you're here?
Yeah, everything's all, man, I'm gonna give you Sherry's number because it just drives me crazy. So bear with me here as I go through this really big agenda, Brett, that, I think Art had a really good idea. No agendas over 3 pounds.
Yes. Just looking out for my well-being.
Noted.
Laura's recycling Laureldale.
Personnel. 8A, resolution to amend Resolution 2022-0491, extending the appointment end date for Mary Kelly from February 28th, 2023 to March 31st, 2023. I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes. 8B, resolution to appoint Christine Wilson as Code Claims Coordinator and authorization to act as a contact person for the Employment Practices Liability Attorney Consultation Services.
So moved?
I have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
8C, resolution extending Brett Knoll as interim administrator until April 3rd, 2023.
It says 3023.
Mine says 2023. Oh, on
Mine
there it
says
does.
30. Well,
He's gonna
you've
do
got
it
a
for
long
1,000.
road ahead of you.
At no additional compensation, may I add.
So you're never retiring?
No roads named after you,
No
nothing, sorry.
proclamation, nothing.
We won't see them anyway.
Harsh, man, it's a harsh crowd.
Yeah. It's all right.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
There we go. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes, and may I say, Brett, you're doing a fantastic job, and we really appreciate you jumping in and handling as well as you have.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Approvals, minutes, reorganization, and regular meeting minutes of February 6, 2023.
There was a,
Oh, I'm sorry, it shouldn't say reorganization, my bad.
right.
Minutes, regular meeting minutes of February 6th, 2023.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Minutes, executive session meeting minutes of February 6th, 2023.
So move. Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Bills, bill list total, $1,817,777.56.
I'll motion on that. That's
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patali?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Reports. Mr. Administrator.
I just want to comment on Christine Wilson's progress over the last 2 weeks that she's been with us. She's doing a great job so far. I think she's so far a good hire. And I also wanted to congratulate John on his retirement. I think he left, but
Yeah, he left.
He left.
He's putting a road sign up.
he knows where all the stuff's at. So. That's all. I have nothing else to add to my.
Will that be a surprise to him? No?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
It's either at Atlantic Avenue or in front of the Wawa.
Mr. Solicitor.
I have nothing to report this evening.
Mr. Engineer.
So I submitted a report or hot topics from February 16th, updating some of the road programs that we're working on. As you can see, Crocus Avenue, they have not started the water main project as of last week. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and when the MUA is out there, completes it, that will be out to bid quickly after that.
Now, is our emergency problem with the gas tank, do you think that's going to slow things down?
For the project on Atlantic Avenue?
Yeah.
Something that we need to talk about. Because
We should
don't
know
wanna-
before that.
We should know way before that. Our process right now is to get it up to the state for approval. We just have a couple signatures to be made by Rita's office, and we'll be submitting that shortly. Due to everybody closed yesterday, we weren't able to get those signatures in time. And moving forward, there's an annual stormwater report that we're working with the Public Works, and that'll be submitted in March. The Pinelands Commission Stormwater Ordinance we just reviewed. We are working with updating the building and road opening fees for the township to better assist in both the building and clerk's office. So reviewing those fees, it seems like they've been outdated for the last 15 years. So we're looking into coming up with a better fees basis for both offices for the building and road opening fees. I think we met with Warren's office and went over that with him, and he agreed as well for certain review processes as well. For my next bullet point, we wanted to have the zoning permits reviewed and more streamlined application review process between the building department, the zoning office, and our office to make sure that everybody's on board with the right approvals. What I've seen through the offices, there's not a CO inspection by the engineer for single-family homes, and I feel that that's a process that's being missed, and we should be involved going out, looking, making sure the grading is proper before CO is issued, so there's no stormwater or grading issues later that we haven't seen. The zoning officer or the building code shouldn't be going out and inspecting grading on these lots. It should be the engineer's office to do that. So that's what we're working with their offices on doing the review and application process. The next, we're working on the Underhill ADA grant with the county to include a concrete sidewalk and bathroom upgrades. We met with Bob McGuigan from ACIA, and he was agreeing that we can revise our applications to include the bathroom upgrades and reappropriate funding that was previously granted for the town. So we're going to be working with getting those grants updated and submitted, and then we can pull together construction plans accordingly. And last is updates, previous engineer planning departments. We've been slowly and just recently received the ongoing and residential commercial developments from the zoning office, and we're going to make sure they're up to date and consistent. So, sorry that I was long-winded there.
Sorry, and the dam should be reviewed by, who's it got to be reviewed by, Brett?
NJOEM is going to.
OEM, Office of Emergency Management, and then it should be awarded this week. Should. So obviously, as soon as we know that, that's, we'll let everybody know about that.
I'm a little confused. Is this the Underhill improvement, or is it the Leapy?
No, this is the Underhill Park. There was an ADA grant that was submitted back, actually, there was multiple years, from 2016 on, multiple years that were just, I guess now that it's added up to about $500,000 worth of funding that is available to be used for concrete sidewalks, signage, striping, all along the Underhill Park area for better
I think it would
pedestrian.
really improve
Oh, that would be
safety
great.
out
That's
there.
great.
It would be huge.
Yep.
Go
And-
ahead.
And then we're also trying to, update the bathrooms there, obviously. They're very outdated, or they're actually porta potties, like portable bathrooms. So we have, I think, $55,000 worth that's available to update and improve those bathrooms. And then the next one was the fencing project that I believe Brett has gotten quotes for to update all the fencing around the baseball fields as well.
Excellent, very good, thank you.
I have one little comment. In the bathrooms, can we have the air dryers instead of paper towels?
Noted.
Because
I'll put it
that
down.
seems to be one of the things people like to throw into the toilets. And you could avoid that by having hand dryers.
And these are the bathrooms on the lower side. We redid.
The old
We
ones.
put new
Yeah,
bathrooms.
the old
on
ones.
on the
Yeah.
top side. This is
Yeah.
for the lower side, the older bathrooms that are attached to the concession stands.
Yes. Yes.
We're
It's
looking at.
just a little something.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to Township Committee. Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes, first I wanted to congratulate, I believe it's Chrissy in purchasing? Christina. She passed her purchasing test. And I thought when I was up at training, it's not an easy test, so I wanted to congratulate you for that. On February the 9th, I attended a webinar for elected officials to review Title 40A, and it was very informative, and I was glad that I was able to be a part of that. On February the 11th, I went to Rutherford to the New Jersey League of Municipalities training for an orientation for municipal officers that are newly elected, re-elected, or experienced. And it was a very, very nice training. I was glad to be at the training. It was a long drive, but I was glad that I went, and I want not to be perfect, but to be efficient in what I'm doing here in the township. I'm very proud that the people elected me, and I want to make sure I know exactly what I'm doing. So thank you so much. That's my report.
Mrs. Link?
Oh. I've been perusing over all the amendments and ordinances since 2018, and I'm glad I can be of service on this subcommittee to see where we've gone right and where we've gone rogue. So I have a thick booklet that going back to my records, because I keep all the records from the Township Committee meetings. And I was able to retrieve everything from 2018 to the present regarding this. So that has been my work, and I'll continue to work on this. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Schenker.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for putting me on the subcommittee. It's something I have a lot of interest in, and I think that, I feel as though a lot of people have already starting to learn a little bit more about it and will understand the process a little bit more. I don't really have anything else. I've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks, and I'm just glad to be out of the house. That's my report.
And we're glad to see you here in
Thank you.
person.
Thank you.
Mr. Cheek?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
All right, and me, congratulations, Chris, good job. And I'd like to say a big thank you to our volunteer firefighters and rescue and the police and all the first responders for the structure fire that was on Farragut Avenue last week. Good job, good stop, and just a big thank you to all of them. And that's really all I have. Reagan, I'll see you later. Maddie, I miss you, I love you, and I hope to see you soon. So we will open it up to public. Anybody have anything? Nobody's going to get up? Come on, people.
Motion to close.
There you go.
Now, wait a minute. The chief is going to get up.
I have a motion, we have a second? Nobody wants a second? I'll second it.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
3 seconds.
Aye. Against? We are going to adjourn to executive session. Formal action may be taken. Director of Community Development, Personnel Contract Negotiation, in rem foreclosure litigation, attorney-client privilege, and we will discuss Township Administrator applicants.
Do we have a motion and a
Thanks, everybody.
second for the resolution?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just need a motion and a second for the resolution to go into executive session.
So moved, second?
Motion to second to go into executive session. Do I need a roll call on that? Let's do a roll call on
Do a
that.
roll call, why not?
Sure.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patel?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Ready? Motion to go back to public session?
Second.
Motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? We are back in public session. Let me get back to my, to the
List.
spot here. So, first thing we have to do is we have to accept the resignation letter of Erin Crane. She resigned on the 14th? That's what it's dated, February 14th?
Motion.
Second.
Hold on, let me double check. No,
Yeah, take
hold on, bear with me. 16th.
16th.
So we're accepting the resignation of Aaron Crane dated February 16th. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. We are going to hire Phil Sartorio as interim economic development director for not more than 24 hours per week at $75 per hour. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes. Here we go.
And the other,
A resolution authorizing public land sale, Block 731, Lot 7, at a minimum price of $50,000. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All, roll call vote.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
yes.
Mr. Schenker?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes.
Does that go on as of today? Or when do you publish that?
the land sale,
Land
they have to draft the ordinance.
Well, the clerk,
Yeah, this is,
clerk has some discretion on that, based on the language of the ordinance, and she's got a little wiggle room as far as getting it up and posted and whatnot. I also think, just for the record, Mr. Mayor, I know you identified it by block and lot, but you are referring to the property located at 6106 Harding Highway.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's all we have. Do I have a motion to close our meeting?
So moved?
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
Against?
Meeting's done.